So these are Craig's training diaries from the last 20 years.
25 years.
No way.
Every single day that was. So, you know, what we did, he told me, keep a diary. Okay, I kept a diary. So, and I rode every ride. That started in 86. And I'd already raced in America in 85 as an 18-year-old. And so I could have started a bit earlier. But no, as far as coaching, we had no idea what we were doing. But,
so how'd you get over to the States? Did you just go over? You didn't have any, what was the story there? Did you have contacts over there or?
Well, I was going to ride track and road here in Newcastle, specifically I was a track rider originally. And I was doing very well locally. And through the junior age groups, I was good. But as soon as I went to senior age groups, I actually didn't go too bad as a first year elite. And I was getting reasonable results, not great results, but they're up there for the adults. And I got selected to ride, go away with the New South Wales team to the USA. And we trained for a month at the Olympic Training Centre at Colorado Springs at altitude. And then the second month, that was a preliminary month. And the second month we rode the Tour of Texas. So I went from riding local club track race, a few state opens, to the Tour of Texas. I had to race Andy Hampston and co.
Oh, right.
Wow.
Yeah, 7-Eleven. Yeah. So, and even Eric Hayden, you know, the speed skater.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was riding for 7-Eleven then. So those guys. So raced in America, and and you know what? I did not want to go. So I was very reluctant initially. I didn't really. I just want to hang out with mates. And they go, oh, you're going to America. The club's going to raise money for you. And I'm going, oh great. Yeah. Yeah, to me, I was like, oh, yeah, fair income. Anyway, and everyone's telling me, oh, you've got to get out of Newcastle and stuff. And I went, oh, yeah, right. So anyway, I went to America, and the club raised so much money for me. Back then, someone going to America to race a push bike was like, what?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
And so I raced in America, and then I didn't want to come home. I got the bug, 85. There you go. 980. Wow. Yeah, as an 18-year-old. Yeah.
Yep. And mate, so the results really seem to pile on from there towards, 87, 88, 89 through until the early 90s.
Well, my breakthrough ride was 86. So I got second in the New South Wales sprint event as a first year elite. And there was Commonwealth Games medalists and stuff, and I was beating them. And the winner of that event was Martin Vinicum.
Wow.
And the next year he became world champion. So, but the problem is I was specifically focused on the kilo, and you had to win your state title and then do well at nationals. But you had to win the state title to make the team. Like they only take 1 kilo rider. So me and the old man, you're going to be a kilo rider. So we focused on the kilo so hard. And I said, so I've got to beat the world. Martin Vinicum won the world title that year.
Got to beat him.
And I said, I've got to beat the world champion to make the state team. Oh, mate, you'll be right. That's fine. It was work. And so we rode 3 hours in the morning, Townsend Oval efforts in the afternoon, did that for a year, just me and the old man. And then the state title come up, and so I've got to beat Vinicum. And the old man comes up and he goes, oh, Sean Wallace is here. I said, what, the Pommy guy? He goes, yeah. What, the world record holder? Yeah. So I had to beat the world record holder and the world champion to make the state team. Well, guess what? I made the state team. So,
wow.
Yeah, that's amazing, isn't it? Wow.
Yeah.
But
that was my breakthrough ride.
What weight were you then? Because as a kilo
81.
rider,
81.
Yeah, the kilo riders are typically, looking at Ben Kirstens and others, they're, even much larger.
Martin. There's a good photo of that on the podium. You got Vinicum, Sean Wallace, and me. And that was my breakthrough ride. So
were they just looking at you going, who is this guy?
Well, got to their defence, they'd come out of an off season, right? And I'd focused purely on state title.
No, let's not go there, mate. Don't worry about it.
So anyway, that was the breakthrough ride, and then I got selected to race on the track, Australia versus the rest of the world, you see. And that's when I met Mario Van Baal, Alexandra's brother.
Yeah.
And then he invited me to Europe. So.
And then in Europe, you were racing crits and longer events.
Yeah, my first was 88. So, let me think. Oh yeah. I got crook after that. I didn't do any good at national. I got fourth at nationals in the kilo. So I got selected. There's a bit of a funny story. So I got selected for the Oceania Games, and I got second in the Oceania Games in the kilo, and the big Kiwi beat me. And so
the big Kiwi. Are you talking about weapon?
No, an older bloke, Anthony Graham, his name was.
Oh right.
Yeah, him and Vinicum got second in the Olympics at Seoul, and Anthony Graham got fifth. So I was mixing it with those guys on the track. And then I moved to Sydney, and then we did the World Series, signed contracts for that. And we did the World Series, probably 15 to 20 races track races between Rockhampton and Launceston. And then I got crook as a dog, and I didn't even make the state team. But what I did, I stuffed my diet up. Believe it or not, I was a vegan.
Back then?
No, I just stopped eating meat. I wasn't a vegan. Anyway, I had the lowest iron count in Australia.
Oh no!
I could not get out of bed. Anyway,
yeah.
So I had to throw everything away. And then, because I did the World Series, Alexandra's brother Mario, obviously I didn't know Alexandra then. He said, "Come to Holland, and we'll race some crits and do some road racing." And I went, "Oh yeah, righto." He goes. Then I sent him a few messages, and he went back to Europe. And then I had to get better again, and got better, and then went to Holland. And then,
so what was it like, right, fronting up for your first Dutch crit? I mean, we all hear stories about them. What was it like? You're a fit guy. You got your health back. You threw your leg over.
I was fit. I was doing 1,000K a week, so I got better. And then I started doing 1,000. It's in the book. 1,000K a week. So. Everything's documented, every loaf effort. So I was doing 1,000K a week, and I was going okay. I'll tell you, I was going all right. So I had a lot of power, you see, from the track.
So you got to this race.
And, so the first race I did over there was a club race. And I couldn't believe it. It was like 150 people. I said, Mario, how many races are here today? He goes, one. I went, one? And he goes, "Oh, you go good today, but Wednesday you won't go good." I went, "Oh, okay." Wednesday gets to Wednesday. They were awarding start money and giving people flowers before the race. And I'm like, geez, who are these blokes? And Brett Dutton, the team's pursuer, Dutto, he was in the race. And I said, "Hey, Dutto." He goes, "Is this your first race in Holland?" I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "Hang on to your hat. These blokes go like cut snakes." He said to me, honestly, I put it this way, it was 100K crit, 1.2K lap, cobbles, 7 or 8 corners, and I'm hanging on the back. The bunch had broken up. There's probably about 30, 40 left, and I hear the sirens coming. And I look back, and we got lapped by one bloke.
What?
And there was about 3 blokes chasing him. They pulled us off the circuit. Funny story. And honestly, I could not walk. My body was roof in the bars, my abdomen, and everything was just stuffed, my calves. Yeah. And then the next morning these are on Wednesday night at 7 p.m, twilight racing. And the next morning, Murray goes, "Oh, we go take some coffee, we go for a ride." I said, "Oh, yeah, go for a ride." And I'm riding down this bike path, and there's this huge building site. And Murray goes, "Hey, Rudy." And there's a bloke at the building site. And I said, "Who's that?" He goes, "Oh, he won last night."
A builder?
He was a builder. And he lapped me. And here I am.
So mate, what did you think at that stage? Did you just think, wow, this is beyond me?
Oh, well, the problem is I race in that region, and Mario was doing the same races every year. It's the hardest crit racing in the world. I think it's called the Westland. The Westland in Holland is the hardest crit race, and there's 10 races and that was part of a series. So, and they're always midweek. So there's less races midweek. So all the good guys come for the money and stuff. But on the weekend, I rode another one and it was easy. I started winning money, but it was still hard. Don't get me wrong. It wasn't easy. But
yeah, was it about positioning better? Was it about being, more aware of the winds
cornering?
Right.
That's just lining out, efficiently getting around, not using your brakes, handling the road surface. So a lot of those races are wet. And 100K, pitch it, mate. We race at Kooragang, right? We do an hour at Kooragang once a week. These building down rain all day, you've got 100K crit on cobbles at 7 o'clock tonight. You don't go there confident.
Yeah.
So harder than Kooragang. Wow.
A little bit.
Kooragang could be hard. Come on.
Sorry.
But that's
so moving on, because Simon, he's got the clock going. He keeps me on track all the time.
I'm looking at it now.
Coming back, perhaps to Australia, I really wanted to touch on that Commonwealth Bank stage coming into
story.
Or Maitland.
Long story. Well, that photo was 88. Okay, I won the stage in 89.
Yep.
And it was very key because I went back to Australia. This might take a few minutes to explain this. I raced in 88, so it was nothing. I was a zero. So I went back to Australia and I'd never raced Parramatta Open. And it's quite hilly, 180K. And I said to Dad, I'll get dropped over these hills. He goes, oh, yeah. Well, I won Parramatta Open, 170K or something. And then I got fastest time in what's the one down in Wollongong, the handicap? Ken Dinnerville.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So I got fastest time in that. And then I was in St. George then. And then Phil Bates said, St. George is about to win the team time trial 100K. That's the 25th year in a row we've won it. You must ride for us. So I rode that and we won. So then I got selected for so Seoul Olympics were on about a month later. And I got selected to ride for New South Wales in the 100K team time trial. So I became I went from a kilo rider to 100K team. That was my job.
Which is huge, which for the listener out there, it's a big difference.
Well, it was an Olympic event. The kilo was an Olympic event and the 100K team time trials. So a month before that Olympic Games, I got selected to ride for New South Wales. They'd never won it before. We won it. So we won the 100K team time trial.
Who was on the team as well with you?
Clayton Stevenson.
Oh, right.
Yeah, Bruce Keach. Toughest biker I've ever met in my life, Bruce Keach. No one was an Olympian. So Clayton and Bruce were going to the Olympics. I wasn't. And the Victorian team had Olympians, and we actually beat them. So that's how I got in the national team, was we won that.
Well done.
Oh, wow.
So I got, this is, right, so I was New South Wales team time trial champion, Australian team time trial champion, and then we went to ride the Worlds the next year. Got selected for that. Didn't make the Olympics. Kilo War team time trial. That's understandable. And next year I rode the Worlds, but we rode the European team time trial championships. And Shane Bannon, Green Edge, well, he was our manager coach. And it was called the Southern European Team Time Trial Cup. And we actually beat Holland, Belgium, France, Jackie Duran, guys like that. We won. And that was before the World Championships. And it was a 90K team. It wasn't quite 100, it was 90. So New South Wales, Australian, European, and we got 9th at Worlds against East Germans. Everywhere we went was Soviet Union, Poland, and East Germany. Every event we went to. So we were getting smashed by the East. I'll come back to Australia. But the pilot strike, this is getting to my bank race. Anyway, so come back to Australia. I thought, I've got this. I'm going to the Commonwealth Games. No worries. Done. Job done. Well, how could they not, And then the pilot strike was on. And our bikes got lost on the way home. So I had 2 weeks off and I had the Nationals coming up. So I had the Australian Road title. Well, I felt okay. So I've made the break, Australian Road Championship, 180K. And I'm in the break of 6, and about 20K out from the finish over the last climb, got within about up the climb, 10 double leg cramps. Full lock. So the brake's gone over the hill and I look back, the bunch is a minute behind me.
Yeah.
So I crept, I got 6th on my own. And then I was nothing. So the Australian team time trial championship we won the year before, remember we had all these credentials, I cracked like a biscuit. And yeah, I thought, I'm done here. I'm out. I'm gone. And so I thought, I'm that's it. Career's over. All these other teams, they want to get a spot too. You know, they're groups. And then I said, the only way I'm going to get back here is I need a big win. So I thought, well, I've got the East Germans coming out. Remember, 88, no Australian won a stage of the bank race, right? Australian hadn't won because they're bringing all these good teams out. I thought, shit, I've got to, I'm done here. So we had the East Germans who won the Worlds and the Olympics. We had the world road champion, Joachim Hornbeck from Poland, who's now dead, died of a heart attack. Soviet Union and the Americans, they used the bars for the first race in history in that event. That was 89, the year Le Mans did it at Tour de France. The Yanks used it. So that they were beating us. Remember, we won sorry, I lost my train of thought there. But so at Nationals, terrible. So I needed the big win at the Commonwealth Bank Classic. I need to beat these guys, right? So, and I was just getting tired. Oh, well, I was top 20 overall in GC coming down the coast and coming into Newcastle. Didn't cross my mind, but I knew I was out of the national team. And because I thought, no, Australians going to win a stage this year, they didn't win. And I was coming, Foster, didn't even cross my mind that I'd go okay. And
when did the stage start, Chappy?
Foster.
Right, so Foster to Newcastle.
Foster into Tea Garden for a town sprint, right, and then back out. And over Bulladila, it's quite, not Bulladila Range, the back hill, the back road.
Yep.
There's 2 climbs. Well, they were hard. And honestly, these communist countries just flew over there. I'm not joking. These guys are unbelievable. They're not good. They're unbelievable.
Bread and water.
Remember, all these blokes turned pro the next year and won the green jersey, podium the Tour de France. Like, they were no mugs.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I got tailed off over the top. The bunch split in 2. Got back on, went over the next hill, tailed off. I was the last guy over so the bunch split in 2. So I just got over. And, I had 100K or whatever it was, 90K to go into Newcastle. And it started raining. It was pissing down rain, coming over Hexham Bridge. And I thought, shit, there's those train lines coming on the Wharf Road.
Oh, yeah.
Train lines,
Yeah.
Well, this is going to be hectic going over them because these blokes don't back off. And I don't know, you're coming down the industrial highway and there's a little train bridge. And there was a group of 4 coming back and I thought I'd bridge across and just kick off the front and try and be near the front. Well, they pivoted and I looked back and I had 15 seconds and I just jammed it in the gutter.
Wow.
And there was parked cars and I was sort of hiding in the parked cars so they couldn't judge me. And I looked back and I just seen this East German train just going. And there's one of the St George boys was on the motorbike and he's going. He had his full face helmet on. He's like, so I hooked around the corner. I just jumped the train lines and then charged up Wharf Road and looked back, mate. They were 3 seconds behind me, and I got there by a second. So
wow. Where was the finish line, mate?
I was at just the trade overhead. The overhead.
Yeah, wow.
At the brewery, and that's how it was luck. But we had a lot of training and a lot of depth. And funny thing was, I was first Australian to win a stage for a number of years. And the selector come up and goes, "You've got no idea what you've just done to yourself, mate." And they positive.
Yeah. Wow.
I said, yeah, cool. Well, believe it when I see it. Anyway, the next day through Gosford, you've been to Gosford. You've gone up that road there.
Yeah.
Out of Gosford.
Not Bumble Hill.
No, the main road out of Gosford.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah.
Up the highway. That was the next stage. Well, all the Yanks and everyone's going, "Oh, you're going to win again today? You're going to win again today?" Well, no, all stuff, mate, Anyway, I had to climb up got tailed off, second group, got back on, down through Hawkesbury, tailed off, got back on. 2K to go, I did it again. People don't know this. And to all the kiddies listening, you got to look after your equipment, because this is one regret I have in my life. I couldn't get the 12.
Oh.
So I've cleared out 10, 15 seconds again, right? 2K to go down this hill. I'm on my own. Look back, it was a Polish train this time. Speaking of sport, okay. Then in your school, I podium the Tour de France. Chasing me. I got within the barriers, but I couldn't get my bottom cog. So I'm spinning down the hill. And that's because I didn't adjust my gears, and they were in the back of vehicles and the derailleur was getting bent, you know.
Yeah.
So had I clicked it in, well, it's on video. 50 metres to go, speaking of Brooks' ass hit my handlebars, freaking into the barrier. All you see is me bouncing off the barrier, and the poles took it. So I nearly went through the row.
Wow.
Mate, one of the questions we like to ask our guests here on the Hurt Box is, think of a moment, if it was that race or another race, when you were in the Hurt Box. How do you deal with that pain? And some of us pull out, and you said you cracked once in a time trial. How do you personally get into that space where you can punish yourself and accept what's going on?
My first season in Europe, I did 3 months, or I had 8 crashes, and honestly, I think I finished every race. So you're in that frame of mind. I remember it was pouring with rain. I was flying back to Australia the next morning, and this was at 7 o'clock again in the Westland, 100K trip, pouring, and there was about 21 of us left, because there's always 21 left, because I only paid at 20, and everyone pulls out in the wet. And I'm hanging on, and we're getting lapped again. I could hear the commentary, the guy going down the back straight. And my watch, the one I got for my birthday, 21st, was rattling, and it come off. So my 21st, this is a positive thing. Every lap I'm looking at it, normally if you're negative, that's a good enough excuse to pull out. Mate, every lap I'm looking at, there's my watch. There's my 21st birthday present, And I finished the race and flew out at 8, 9 o'clock in the morning. So normally I wouldn't ride a wet race the night before you're flying out, and I'd pick up my 21st birthday present off the road. But if there was no excuses, I was going, I was crashing, I was getting up, and I was finishing, where the exact opposite would be, you'd find any excuse just to. And like the shocker I had in the team time trial at Canberra, Keachy, the toughest man I've ever raced in my life, is always in every team I was in, Madison or teams time trial, teams pursuit, we're in the same team. Different. I had speed, he just had tough. You could crack a cricket bat over his head and you wouldn't feel it. He's the only guy I ever raced that put on weight during the tour. And he in that team time trial, his gears were jumping. Honestly, 100K team trial, picture it. You're in that absolute hurt box. You let that wheel go, you're gone. And I'm on the wheel, and there's clunk, clunk, clunk. And it just did my head in. So I pulled out of a race because his gears were jumping.
And mate, I probably would you attribute a fair bit of your ability to suffer down to some of those legendary training efforts. For those who aren't from Newcastle, the most famous local climb is Mount Sugarloaf, or the Loaf as we like to call it. And your old man was renowned for horrible repetitions of the Loaf. How did that used to feel?
Well, that was after that. See, that we implemented that after. I would do, there's not a word of lie, I did 15 a week for a decade, right? And everyone goes, oh, you did not. You did not. Well, I did, And I wrote them down, and I thought you would ask that question. So,
how long's the Loaf, mate? For those who aren't from here, how long is it?
4K, maybe?
3 or 4K?
Once you turn off the road, and this is in like 5 times 53, 17. Seated. Right?
Oh, wow.
And
that's crazy. That's crazy.
Like 15 a week. So that week we did 15. So you do your ride in the morning, and then you do the Loaf in the afternoon. So, I hear people talking about hill efforts and stuff. Are you doing hill efforts? Are you really doing training? When you like 53, so you start in the 21 and we didn't have power meters back then. But if you did it in 53.17 seated, not out of the seat, seated, by the time you got to the 17, and they'll just form, you hold your position and up you go. So that was where I developed some strength. But yeah, it actually happened. We did that. Probably wouldn't do it again.
Mate, there's one question I'd really like to ask is your view compared to nowadays, where a guy can turn up to racing and he can turn up on a $15,000 bike. That was very different in your times, and I remember listening to you about this sort of stuff and how there was only 2 or 3 people in Newcastle who had a due-race grip set, and you kind of had to earn that right to have that grip set.
Yep.
When you were talking about gears 53.17,
Mm-hmm.
how many people would even be able to ride that up a small hill? So very different now. I'm interested in your view on the technology and how it's changed.
Well, I only had good stuff if someone bought it for me. So, when I was in the Australian team, we had good bikes. But when it wasn't, we didn't. Like when I rode that team time trial against the Olympic team, I was on a road bike. Not this. I was this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the TT position wasn't in there, but they were on proper, carbon discs and stuff like camp bag ones. I was just on my roadie. So you had to earn the right to have a good equipment back then. And I remember when Hank Vogels, Robbie McEwen, and all those guys made their pro contracts, they were on Giants with Altegro.
Mm.
They were on the top gear. That was their given bike. So really, can I just talk about the East Germans? Well, when I raced the Soviet Union, not Russia, the Soviet Union, and there was A and B and C teams, and they were all heaps better than us, even the C team. Abdi Zaparov was in the B team.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was in a race with
the Tashkent Terror.
And Abdi's cheering us on because he was out training. And,
for anyone who doesn't know him, Google him. He's a freak.
Yeah, 91 Tour de France crash. Google that. Mm-hmm. And Champs-Élysées. And then the East Germans, they had the Colnago, the record, but down the scale they had broken Colnago's broken record and stitched up clothing. So you'd see they had their clothing repaired. I mean, one guy I raced in the bank race, Axel Schaefer, proed him the Giro, Soviet Union. He had his helmet on back to front every time I raced him. And I didn't have, you know what I mean? You're getting towed up by these blokes, and one bloke's got his helmet on back to front. I didn't have the heart to tell him.
That's gold. And mate, probably a highlight I would suggest, I suppose, Commonwealth Games. Can you run us through that?
Well, yeah, I actually had no excuses. I didn't do very well. Australia didn't do very well. Right, so I think we made a big error in the team time trial. I didn't ride the team time trial. I rode the road race. I was selected for the road race because I had that shocker in Canberra. But I had a double wheel change. I was in a break early and then had a double wheel change, and then I never I was out of it, so honestly it was a bit of a, didn't
bit of a letdown.
Well, you do so many hard races. It's just a race. To me, it was just a race. Like talking about the races I rode, a top 10 in my region or somewhere in Europe was a good result. You know what I mean? Like the region I raced, there's 3 blokes that win 20 races a year, and then they're so good. So to me, I'd have 5 good results worth talking about, Yeah. It's but just the level of racing you're doing.
Pretty amazing results.
Hey, gents, I'm going to call it quits there. We've had a pretty awesome conversation. I'd like to get you back, Craig, if that's all right with you, to talk about the closeout of your career and then into your son. So in a couple of weeks, if that's all right with you, I'd really love to come back to you.
I'd like to talk about that because I really do like developing the sport, and
we want to talk to you about it too, mate.
Excellent.
For those who aren't from the Newcastle and Hunter region, Craig's been a huge part of what was the Hunter District Cycling Club. It's now, I'm a bit out of the loop, Chappie. It's a united club now, from what I understand, which is great.
You're wearing a jersey to an interview, so you are a bit out of the loop.
Well, I think this might be the jersey that I first wore when I first came across Craig, which would have been at Seaham, I'd suggest, in 96. And I just wanted to throw it out there. I was scared of Craig because he was one of the best bike riders, if not the best bike rider in Newcastle, and I wouldn't have to talk to him.
That's where you and I are different, because I never was scared of Craig. I always found it to be charming, lovely, kind, compassionate. Anyway, we have to call this to a quit. We could go on all night, but I just want to say a huge thank you to Craig. Thank you to all our previous guests. Thank you to our viewers. We've had 1,000 overall off a couple of videos, which is phenomenal for two plonkers like myself and Paul. Thank you. And Craig, we'll definitely come back to you. Such an impressive chat. You really had me there in your races. Is there anything you'd like to say as we close out?
Oh, no, I just thank you for the opportunity to have a chat, and it's really valuable what you guys are doing. And, if I could suggest other people that you might want to talk to, that'd be grateful if you could talk to them. But excellent, keep the work up. It's really good.
No, we are definitely going to chase down a couple of people you've mentioned, the Tresidors and a couple of others we'll definitely get on with, but we'll definitely come back to you too, mate. So thank you again, and don't forget to hit like and subscribe. We're keen to get your support for these conversations. So thank you, and thanks again to Craig.
Good on you, Chappie.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Cheers, guys.